So hi, welcome to the Good Noise Podcast. You're here with Pulses. We're going to ask them some questions today about their new album and the cover as well. So I'd like to start off by saying congrats on the album release, even though it was like, a month and a half ago, 2 months now. So how do you guys feel about the response to that, and what does the album name mean?
Response has been overwhelming, especially like when it first happened, because it's kind of like as things release, of course it kind of like goes down a little bit, but even still, it's just like it's been overwhelmingly positive so far, like, which is a very surprising thing because usually people are very vocal about if they don't like something. And we haven't gotten that at all, really.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's been it's just like, not that we want to pay attention to those all the time, but it's just like, just generally everybody is just vibing with it. So just very happy with the response, and then with just kind of where it's taken us so far, even despite being in quarantine and all that.
Yeah. It's maintained a surprising amount of hype considering we haven't been able to like do shows or anything, and since it's also been like 2 months. Like people, the fact that I still see like new people being like, "Oh, this is sick. I've never heard you guys," and I'm like, "Oh, okay,
that's
cool."
Awesome.
So
yeah,
it's been good.
So it's really cool to see.
The second part of that question was, what is the name? It's just like a phrase that people say. Like, you want to speak things into existence, and so it means a lot for us. Hey, there he is.
There's David.
David.
Oh my god.
How was your COD game?
Oh, it was fine.
Well,
I was finishing
like
up.
Hades spread.
It's not good.
F.
L.
It could be like that.
L.
Yeah.
We were talking about speak it into existence. We just started like.
Yeah. No, I heard the call go out. I just was busy. Sorry.
It's fine.
Word. So speak it into existence for us was, we had to speak the album into existence. Really, like it was taking forever because we like started it 2018.
Yeah, we started
Something like
early
that.
2018.
Yeah, and just many different things like getting in the way and taking time to do and money and whatnot. And then Danny left, and we were done. Like Danny finished it, which was great, but it was still like, oh, we have to keep going, and we have to like explain this, and we have to, do all this to get it out. And so it was constantly like us speaking it into existence, and then it's also us speaking ourselves into like existence in the scene in a way, where we're like, okay, this is album 2, we're a thing now. Like we exist to people more than just like, hey, they put out a record and died off, like a lot of bands tend to do. So we exist, and so that was another part of it too.
Wow.
And you had that name like before I joined, because I remember the first time I came over to like write with you guys, you were like, "Oh yeah, this is the album name, by the way." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah, we had the album name actually before we wrote any songs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, it was just because I remember LeVar Ball was saying it a bunch like back then, early 2018. So we were just like, "Oh, let's name the album that." Because again, like Kevin gave the reasoning to, it really fit. And I know, especially for me personally, was a tumultuous time for myself, I guess. So it kind of spoke to me a lot because I was like juggling just school and doing the band. So I was constantly just asking myself, "Oh, do I want to devote this much time into this band anymore? Is this something I enjoy, or is this something that I can even like do at this point?" Because just having it rough. And then Speak It Into Existence is, we said when we put out our first record, Bouquet, we were like, we're going to put out a second record. So that was just my motivation. It's just like, we already said we're going to do it, so I'm just going to do it. No matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes. So.
So you mentioned that the album name came first. So did you name your title track after the album name? Is that
one would be called Super Salad.
Yeah.
Super Salad.
Which is a whole thing on its own. I mean, That came from Caleb, Danny, and I went to Olive Garden, and we had it was a memorable night in general. Caleb and Danny had their what'd you guys have?
Yeah, we had some stuff.
Descriptive. Love to see it.
Yeah. The waiter came up and he was like Danny ordered, and he was like, "Cool. Would you like super salad?" And Danny was like, "Super salad? What's a super salad?" And it just it was a whole thing.
Super salad.
Yeah. Super salad. Yeah. But then I think we already we'd already written Louisiana Purchase, which has the lyric in it as well with the name. But then I don't remember why we decided to make that a title track, but
I just remember it being just because after we had written that, I think we were just like, oh, this sounds like an intro. This sounds like a first track kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of felt right, really.
Yeah.
And especially because I'm trying to remember. I think because Taylor was hating on that idea because she was like, "Why would you make the first track the title track? Nobody ever does that, and anybody that does is terrible."
Wow.
So,
Ouch.
but we were just like, "Yeah, we're gonna do it anyway. Whatever."
Just fuck it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, what song off of the album took the longest to write?
Let me think. Let me look.
I
I
know.
don't even know our track list. So.
I
don't either. It's okay, I don't either. I really don't.
I would know it if I sat down, but not.
I know.
No.
I know. Good Vibes Only took the least time, maybe. Well, it went through a lot of rewrites though. But the basic thing for that took the least time because Caleb and I wrote that in an hour.
Damn.
But
Technically,
An hour?
over Discord, we just kept sending things back and forth, and then we had the guitar parts done.
Oh my god.
But then the vocals and bass and drums took longer. What were you saying?
that's usually how it ends up. Well, I was gonna say first, usually how it goes is just one of us will write the guitar part, and then everybody kind of builds on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, usually it doesn't take that long. But what I was gonna say, technically, the longest is Graduation Day, because Danny wrote that his senior year of high school.
That's true.
And that was in 2015, and we didn't finish it until right before we finished the whole record. So technically, that was a song in process
For 4 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Technically, but it's just the actual time spent actively writing it still small.
I don't know. I feel like Olivia Wilde took a while.
Yeah. Somewhat.
I know we kept
threw that out in one
Yeah,
day.
you threw down on that. I forgot. That was mostly you.
We kept adding to it. I know even after we recorded vocals, we were still adding production stuff, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that one still I don't feel took too long. I don't know.
Because honestly, in general, with the bare bones versions of all the songs is pretty quick. Like I said before, it's just since it usually starts with Matt or I on a guitar part, and everybody kind of builds on it. The longest it takes is building that structure with the guitar part, and then once that's done, and everybody's confident with writing their own parts, so everybody just kind of throws down, and it's done. We can finish a song easily in a day or two.
Yeah, usually
wow.
usually people if you have a good full structure to go on, whoever else is adding to it usually does it in one night. Does their part in one night.
That's good.
So I don't know.
Yeah. But I'd say that probably the longer or the longest part of it is y'all writing a guitar part that ends up actually working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then us writing lyrics or vocal lines and stuff.
Yeah. I was gonna ask Kevin which one took you the longest lyrically, because
Lyrically, probably I didn't write those. Probably Big Mood, I think. Since that one actually means a lot, and it kind of took a while to say what I wanted to say correctly.
I get
Because a lot of the jokey stuff kind of comes pretty quick because it's just like that's just how I am all the time, and usually the jokier songs end up actually pulling from other songs, like interpolating and stuff like that. So it's not that hard because it's just like what is it? Good Vibes Only is one of like the more jokey songs, but that steals from like 3 different songs. And Louisiana Purchase is just like random raps that I wrote like forever ago that I'm like, oh, let's piece this in here. And it works and stuff like that.
That one might have been one of the longer ones. That one might have been one of the longer ones just because I know like Danny and I had a writing session on vocals for that, and then you did a bunch, and then Danny did some on his own.
Yeah, that's true.
That was one of the few that like actually took more than one like writing session vocally, I feel like.
Wow.
Yeah,
Because usually like you two will sit down and write one, or like I'll like Plastic Almond and I wrote all that in like one night, and then yeah, that one.
Most of the lyrics are like I just kind of like write them and then we like push them into the song, like so that like they're not like most of the time they're not intended, or like I don't even like write it to an instrumental or whatever. It's just like these passages. And then I'll like shave words or like add words when we're actually trying to like test them out on the song.
Yeah.
Or like sometimes we'll have like a section that doesn't have anything yet, and Kevin will just go through his like notes and find like a 4-bar phrase that he had somewhere that fits or something, and we just stick it in there.
Just like a puzzle.
Yeah.
All right.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So what was it like releasing an album in the current state of the world? With coronavirus and whatnot, not being able to tour for it.
David, how do you feel?
Honestly, I feel like when we released it, it was still in the low impact area of the coronavirus. So we kind of gained all the benefits that all the Bandcamp and all the going digital things. We really got to benefit from that over time, being able to do special releases and stuff like that.
Everyone was still bored too, so they had time to listen to it. I think that helped.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, since it was just very early on in it. And then even for us, we've always kind of been more of a digital kind of band in that sense, promotion-wise, because it's like, well, we've only ever toured once. We did our first tour with Sales Ahead back in September. So it's like, and then for this year, if it weren't for COVID, we weren't going to like directly tour off of it like right when it came out. We had planned on trying to do a tour in the fall with them again and hitting like the Northeast. But of course, that's not happening at this point. So we're just going to probably plan for it next year. But yeah, we kind of had always just had planned on putting out the record without any kind of like physical promotion, but doing like we usually do and just promoting wherever we can on the internet, especially by word of mouth. So it honestly didn't really change our approach to how we were going to release it.
Plus, we were just at the point where we were tired of sitting on it anyway. So I don't think it would have mattered.
Yeah.
Like, even if it would have been like a bad idea to put it out, we probably would have just been like, "Fuck it, we're gonna do it anyway."
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, so it worked out. That's good.
Yeah.
It's good to hear. So where's your headspace when you were writing the album?
A lot of places, I think.
Depends on like the time period, because since it did take so long, there was like different
eras. Maybe?
Yeah.
I can say just my general state, I would say, was just like stress. Because again, I was in school and happily done now and graduated college.
Congrats.
Thank you. But yeah, it was like this whole time span between like when we started writing it early 2018 to like finishing it, I think I was in my junior year of college when we started. And with my degree, that's when everything just kind of really comes at you all at once.
Yeah.
So my last 2 years were just like extremely stressful to me. So like any time spent working on music was kind of my way of kind of relaxing or just like kind of airing myself out a little bit. So that was mostly my headspace, and that kind of went into the music a little bit, I feel, because Well, I think in general also. I mean, I'll let everybody else speak for where they're at, but I did notice like the mood was different than it was for our first record, because especially with David and I and Danny Bouquet, we were like 19 to 20, so we weren't really that stressed on life yet. So when we came around to this record, all of us started to get busier. I was in school. David was, doing your EMT training and everything. Danny was like running his family's company. So everybody was just kind of in this different headspace, and that's why we still have our fun tracks, but we have more of a balance between the serious and fun on this one. Kind of like half and half.
Yeah.
Kind of leaked out because of that headspace.
I get that. Yeah.
I know that making it got really stressful toward the end. Like when we were doing vocals, it got really like, just because we were recording vocals, pretty much our sessions would run from like 10:30 at night to like 3 or 4 in the morning. Because I work evenings, and I would just drive an hour over there from work, like stay there. We'd work on stuff overnight, and then I'd go to work the next morning from their place, and it was like those would get pretty stressful. Vocal tracking in general is the most stressful, just because like you do a ton of takes of the same thing, and it's physical, like as opposed to like guitar or something where you're just sitting there. But I mean, it was still fun. Like we still kind of had fun with it for the rest of it. I know like that was stressful on Danny because he has like a normal schedule, like whereas Caleb and I, like I work evenings, and Caleb had like we were doing it mostly when you weren't in school, so you didn't have as much of a like time commitment to that. So we were pretty good with it, but I know Danny like would be like, yeah, I got to work in the morning. But I don't know. David, do you have anything to add to your headspace of
Sorry, what?
your like headspace when we were writing or working on the album? Or
Well, so I'm not. Well, me and Kevin often didn't have those late nights coming because we worked normal jobs, kind of like Danny, but also we had very little to do with the vocal tracking. I know Kevin more than me, but I mean, we just kind of did our things after work and recorded, and it was kind of what we did. For the recording process.
you had some vocals on there. You got them singing parts. But yeah, you didn't.
Much less than y'all.
Yeah.
All right.
And we had to make sure that everybody was represented vocally on the end of Louisiana Purchase. Like we all are on it.
That's
Plus Taylor as well. So,
That one and Grad Day doesn't have Taylor, but it has everybody else.
yeah, that too.
That's cool.
That's so cool.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my headspace was pretty standard. I'm old, and I live a standard life now. I don't know. I mean, it's just like my day-to-day stress is normal to me, and that's about it. And I don't know. It's fun to write music, so that helps make the fun tracks fun. And the moody tracks are moody because I'm an emotional bitch.
Felt that. So on the album, what band's influences do you think you hear, if any?
A lot.
That we hear, yeah.
Valid.
Let me pull up the playlist.
Yeah.
There's a playlist.
Yeah, we have a
Yeah.
playlist.
We have a playlist for both records, actually.
Yeah.
Like it's been
And
always a like kind of goal of ours to like wear our influences on our sleeve. So like for this record, like we did for the first record, we made a playlist of just a bunch of songs that we directly interpolated or kind of referred to or and whatnot. That
What we were
general-
listening to.
Yeah, and just the general inspirations. So
It's
I don't know. You have that up?
it's very long. I can read it if you want.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, Sokuni Naru, Thursday, Mr. Ghetto, Juvenile, Lil Wayne, and Manny Fresh, the Showboys, Big Frida, Drake, Diplo, a Mario. There's like 12 for Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I want to speak on that one specifically, though, because Louisiana Purchase is probably the one that has the most like direct and out of genre for us.
Mhm.
And I wanted that one being Louisiana Purchase is inspired by like New Orleans bounce music, so I wanted to do my best and our best really to represent it in the most authentic way possible. So we would listen to a bunch of those songs, like back that as up. Drag rap is like the song that sampled literally in every bounce song.
Yeah.
So we like took part of the melody in that song and put it in the chorus on Matt's guitar part, and also
That's
put it in the bridge breakdown.
that part.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then Big Frida is one of the biggest artists in the genre as well that we took from. And then we wrote this back in 2018. So Scorpion, Drake's album had just come out, and Nice for What was, one of the bigger songs off of that record, which was also influenced by bounce music. So that song partially, as well as Lemon by NERD, were those kind of the two songs that sparked the interest of being like, oh, I want to write bounce music and post-hardcore in one.
That one's not on here.
Oh, yeah, it's not. I need to add that, because that's really important.
Yeah.
But, so, and then Walmart, Wally World is also important,
That's
So the title-
because that's where the name comes from. Because there's a line on that song where it's like, she's got a Louisiana Purchase card.
Yeah.
So,
Figured
And
that
then-
was fitting.
Express Yourself by Diplo was the other big one because we took a line from that.
Yeah,
That's
the
where
bridge,
the bridge comes from.
the part that like I do and Danny does,
Yeah.
directly from that Diplo song.
Yeah.
and then the two songs in particular, Speaking Into Existence, and then Mount Midoriyama, especially Mount Midoriyama, is kind of influenced by like J-Rock. So for like Speaking Into Existence, I know Matt mostly wrote that one, and so he looked at Soki Inaru song.
Yeah, Sokununaro was the main. I don't know what the song is called because it's in Japanese, but there's one of their songs that I was like heavily inspired by for that one. And then
And
Mount Midoriyama was.
Mount Midoriyama was one that I kind of started out with Danny actually, and I wanted to do. I looked at Polka Dot Stingray, and then I also looked at James Brown, the song Funky Drummer, and used the beat from Funky Drummer, like the drum part, and mixed it with Polka Dot Stingray's type J-Rock, kind of make that one.
So cool.
Yeah, very cool.
The rest is like all in the playlist, and they're
Yeah.
all pretty. Like it's in order, so it's like if you listen kind of through, you can kind of gauge which song you're on based on like what
You can get the pivot points like when it goes from like with Sails Ahead because of the feature on Mount Midoriyama to the number 12 Looks Like You. That's kind of a big pivot.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
And then I wrestled a bear once to Lil Uzi. Yeah, but yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
That's
a lot of good
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah, I know, like, just to kind of bookend it, one of our bigger influences, especially nowadays, like Glassjaw, is a thing that Daryl Colombo would always say. It's just like, all the music you write, or for them it was, the music you write is the sum of your parts and the sum of your influences. So expressing our influences is important to us.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
I think you're the first band to actually be like, oh, we actually have a playlist that, we made for the album. That's so cool. I don't know. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you could choose one track off of your album to represent your project, what track would you pick?
Louisiana Purchase probably just because.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that one is like an example of what we try to do with like taking different styles of music that you don't normally hear put together and putting them together with like post-hardcore and stuff. So I think that's a big one. I don't know.
Good one.
For sure.
What about you guys?
I agree.
David, what do you think?
Sorry, I'm looking through them right now.
None of us know the
I
track
feel like
list.
Nah, I'm gonna call him out real quick. David is the one where it's just like, we'll be like, "Oh yeah, we're about to play this song," and he's like, "What is that?"
that's because like David is attached
Let me
to
pull up the tab.
attached to
Bro.
the like demo names.
Yeah,
Like so, we'll,
Yeah, I
we'll,
get
we'll be
really attached to them.
yeah, we'll write a song for like a year, call it this, and then decide like before the album comes out that we're gonna call it that, and then he's still stuck on that because we've called it that for like a year.
yeah.
So it's like I
Yeah.
totally understand.
And I think like only 3 or 4 songs like working titles made it to the album. So he's probably you're
Yeah,
probably a little fucked up
I
on
did
that.
see your face was lit up white during the set. Did you happen to have the tabs up?
Wait a minute.
Damn, how are you gonna call me out like that?
Was I the one that said it, or did you find that out yourself?
Because we were
I talked about it with them.
we were in a Discord
But-
call like watching it, and Caleb was like, "Yeah, he's looking at the tab."
I'm so happy you noticed it too. 'Cause
I noticed it the second I got the set and I got to like one of his parts. I was like, he's got the tabs up. I can tell. He's got something up.
incredible.
We love you, David.
Called
We
out.
haven't played him in a while. I don't blame you. Like I had to
I-
relearn
yeah.
all these songs. I just relearned them before the set.
I'm usually so busy that I don't memorize the songs until like the day before.
I get that.
So-
I should
fair.
call you out.
I know them. I know them well enough to sight read them because every single one of those was the first or second take.
Yeah.
So I sight read the whole thing.
Wow.
But
Yeah. Well, I mean, David, I do the same thing with the lyrics. Like, you'll notice that my angle is slightly different every time. That's because I had to pick up my phone in between every song and like just review real quick. So, yeah.
I get that. Just
um,
get a little dig. That's all.
yeah,
Do what you gotta do.
Hell yeah.
honestly.
So this one's definitely out there, but some bands have been dropping like reimagined versions of songs. Have you guys talked about that? Any plans to do something similar?
No.
I wouldn't mind doing it. I wouldn't mind doing it. We are doing remixes. Like, I'm doing remixes, but
Alright.
Yeah.
I think
like because I did the last one.
time.
I did like the one with like a bunch of bouquet songs and stuff, and then this time I just did the whole album, the new album. So that's almost done. I'm just waiting on a few vocal parts, and then we'll put that out in like a month or two, probably.
Ooh.
Yeah.
To go along with what David was saying, I feel like that's the most we're gonna get a reimagining of.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's, I mean, not to say that it's like not something that we would work out doing, but I feel like I don't know. It's just
It'd have to be a really
Like,
good idea.
yeah,
We'd have
Like, it
to
would
have
have to
like
be
a
really
good
cool.
idea.
but
I
it
didn't-
also like to me feels like remixing makes more sense
Mhm.
for us than just reworking a song and making it moody,
Mhm.
which is
And
what a
making
lot
it
of people
acoustic.
do.
I hate
Yeah.
playing acoustic guitar, so I don't want to do that if I don't have to.
Alright, I get
Yeah,
that.
that's fair.
Yeah,
That's
just
fair.
thought I'd throw it out there.
Speaking of, like I was gonna say, I remember last year we actually got like asked.
Yeah,
We got asked to open for Icy Stars.
Mhm.
Like they were doing their acoustic tour, and we got asked to open for it. And
Acoustic.
well, and unfortunately we couldn't do it because I had a final exam that same night of the show, so we had to decline, unfortunately. But we got asked to do it. You know, of course they were doing acoustic, so they asked if we could do an acoustic set. I'm just like, I don't know what acoustic pulses sounds like.
we were
I don't
literally gonna figure it out like within like because they asked us like last minute.
Mhm.
So we were like, we have like 2 weeks to like rewrite our set, and we were gonna do it, and we were just gonna have Danny straight up scream like
I mean,
Yeah.
no different. But then we were gonna like, I think we were gonna change some arrangements and do like some of the like I think we were gonna do 21st Night and like some of the more moody songs that we had at the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I think I would do it, but I also know that they don't want to.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm fine with not doing it. I just like, if they were like, yeah, let's do it, I would be like all for it. But I don't know. Like I think like I I think like a moody Plastiglomerate would sound cool, but I'm not like.
It'd have
I'm
to
not
be
like.
selective.
It would
Yeah,
be
okay.
selective, but the other problem with that is, motherfuckers want to hear "I Drink Juice" acoustic for some
That's
reason.
never, that couldn't happen. That
Like,
wouldn't
that's never going to happen. Like,
No,
we're never
like,
going to do that.
that's the thing. It's like if we were gonna do like an acoustic version, the only songs that I think we could even do acoustic would be like the appetizer, like
Mhm.
graduation day, maybe 21st night, and then like Plastic Armor, and that would, or maybe Big Mood. That would probably be it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Which we could do, but like I don't. They don't want to, and I'm okay
Maybe
with
we'll
that.
make a Patreon someday, and then you can request it.
Oh my god, bet.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, all I'm saying
Not
is
against it, but
If
As a
quarantine keeps
principle.
going, if quarantine keeps going into
Yeah.
next year, we'll do it just because we're bored, probably.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
I mean,
fair.
Listen, all I'm saying is Matt listed off 4 songs. There's an acoustic EP.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
Dang it, Matt.
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
it's honestly been a slight thought in the sense. It's like you said, if quarantine keeps going, it's like
yeah.
we have other ideas. Like we've already mapped out releases for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You know, hint, hint. So
Nudge, wink, wink.
honestly, if it keeps
Eyes
going, then yeah, it's
Yeah.
like if it keeps going, then we'll just do that because that's easy
Yeah.
to do.
Like we
Without
I remember
new material.
Caleb and I were sitting at Guitar Center once, and for some reason we were in the acoustic room, and we were just like both playing. I think we were playing Plastic Armor, and I was like, "This sounds pretty cool." Just so you know, It's like, but he was like, "Yeah, maybe I don't know." Yeah, you don't want to do it. It's fine.
Yeah, just say you don't want to do it.
Sad.
And
I don't
like
know.
when the Contortionist did it back in 2015, and I'm still not a fan of even the Whitechapel ones, even though Phil Bozeman's voice is amazing.
I like the Issues ones. That's the thing is like if we did it the way Issues did it, that would be cool. It's like they did it cool, but I don't know.
Alright.
The remixes are happening now.
The remixes
Okay.
are definitely
Okay.
happening. Okay.
They're all done. They're all on my computer, just chilling.
Ooh.
So they're. I think it's like one little vocal thing they still have to record, like some ad libs
Yeah.
or screaming or something, and then I just have to mix those in, and then we just have to figure out when we can release it because we have other things planned out. But
Ooh. All
that'll
right.
that'll be a thing. So that's all you're getting probably in regards to reimaginings.
Okay.
Alright.
That's fair. That's fair.
We gotta release the Plastic Omelette Ben Bruce version.
Oh my god.
Bet. Do it. Do it. So, what 3 songs are you looking forward to off of the album playing live the most?
Is this Warp Breaks now that people know it? Because we played it once and nobody knew it, so it was like it kind of just people were like hyped because it was a new song, but they didn't like get it. So that one, Mount Midoriyama probably, because I've been practicing that one a lot.
I
And
want to play Rebel the Mightiest Cat live.
yeah, I do too. I want to see someone get their ass beat to that song. I said like right when we put that song
David
out, I
will
was
probably
like,
be the one doing it too.
Right.
yeah, David will be in the crowd hitting people with his bass. Yeah, those
Speaking
ones are
of-
like.
Wait, I just remembered. I gotta recall this story from tour.
Oh, wait,
this one
what?
time where David-
Wait!
This one time where David legitimately almost beat somebody's ass.
Oh
Oh my god!
David, you remember that? Go ahead.
I do. So this guy was getting a little too rowdy, and then he put his hands on me and like bent me over. I was like, "Nope." Put him in a headlock. You're gonna stop, bud. You're getting a
This
little
is-
too rowdy.
This was during when Sales Ahead set. Like we played,
Oh my
and then
God.
they played, and Sierra was like stopped and everything, and was just like, "What the fuck?" Like, and then she realized it was David, and it was just like even funnier.
Dude. Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah, I was standing literally right next to him. I'm just like, whoa! What did he fuck?
I remember looking down and being like, "Oh, someone's in a fight," and then I like saw him come up, and I'm like, "Oh, David's
Yeah.
beating ass."
Oh my god.
But yeah,
So
Rebel
answer the
will be
question. Rebel will definitely be a fun one live.
Alright.
fun. Yeah, we got to figure out how to do that one because vocals are a thing now, but we should be all right.
Alright.
We'll be good.
We'll get
Yeah.
David, you have full permission to beat the shit out of me with your bass. If you
Thank
guys
you.
play that live in New Jersey.
We'll definitely do that.
All right.
I want to play Olivia Wilde too. That's my third one.
Yes, yeah.
That's my third one.
Alright.
You all can pick your three, but Mount Midoriyama, Exist Warp Breaks, and Olivia Wilde. I'll go with that since David said Rebel.
Mm-hmm.
Those are safe ones for me, I would say.
Yeah, I would add Speak It Into Existence too.
Ooh.
That's going to be the one.
Man, Kevin, why?
Yes, this bastard's gonna make me like Mount Midoriyama. Like that beat's not hard as shit.
Yeah. Speak It Into Existence, even before like we knew that Caleb and I were gonna have to do vocals, like I was like, I want to do it, but I'm scared. And then now I'm even more scared because that's like the hardest song to play for me, at least. I don't know about Caleb for guitar, but that song's hard as shit for me.
Probably like second or third hardest. Surprisingly, Mount Midoriyama is probably my hardest guitar part.
Interesting. That one's not. I know. Isn't Olivia Wilde really hard for you?
Somewhat.
For me,
Yeah, I know. It's hard on drums. That one is like the easiest song on the album for me for some reason. I don't know why. Like, I guess the parts I wrote just aren't that hard, but I don't know.
Damn. All right.
What's your hardest bass part, David?
Probably Louisiana Purchase.
Oh, well.
That makes sense.
I
You're doing well on that one.
I go from like the 5th fret all the way up to the 18th fret in one note.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that'll do.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah, that one slide, was it like during the verse?
Yeah, that walking part during the verse. I actually showed it to a buddy of mine. He was like, "What the fuck were you thinking?"
And that sucks because we're probably never gonna not play that one.
I wanted to play it. It's a hard one.
Yeah, but I don't know.
It's a great part though, and I commend you every time you do
Yeah.
it. Or I should commend you every time you do it.
It's a good one.
It's good.
It's a great one.
So now we're going to talk about that cover a little bit that you guys dropped a couple
Yes.
weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
So you guys
Yes.
covered Love Like Woe by like what, the Ready Set, Summer Set, something like
Yeah,
that?
hold on. I have to talk my shit here for a second because I watched y'all's podcast and you guys said you had never heard the original.
I've never heard the original.
Oh shit, here we go. Oh no. Hands
Like
up.
I know y'all are young, but like, come on, like
We were like boomers.
I was like,
we literally had a whole
good,
conversation about this in the chat. We were like, what the fuck? How?
I'm like, hey, it's good, but I've never listened to the original. Still haven't.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, I just had to.
Yeah, we're just at this point. It's just like attacking each other very politely.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Yours is superior, like no matter what, though. So it's
uh,
okay.
Thank you.
So what made you guys choose to cover that track out of all the songs you could have covered?
I was y'all.
myself that all the time. I guess to start out with it, it was a thing of ours that we didn't really want to do a cover, but then it got to that point where because for me, I was like, I don't want to do covers. I don't want to be Our Last Night. I don't want to blow up off of a cover or whatnot. I don't want to even risk it. But we were just like, we're 2 albums in. We kind of have our own foot in the game now, so we can just do it. And then the other stipulation for me was always, if we were ever going to do a cover, I want it to be something. Well, it's just like selection really matters for me for a good cover, especially one that's like a post-hardcore or like scene cover.
Screamo cover.
Screamo, yeah. If you're gonna do like a pop song, it needs to like actually fit and not do it simply for this is the top 40 song currently. And I wanted to do something that kind of matters. And for this one, it was, nostalgic for us. And yeah. And I think just, us going to emo night or whatever, they would play the song on occasions. And I was always just like, that'd be wild if we covered this song. And then Matt and I just one night after tracking from
it wasn't after tracking. We were supposed to be tracking vocals. And we just sat down and we're like, well, let's start on this cover. And then Kevin's like, all right, I'm going to bed. And then the next morning he came down and we're like, we stayed up till 5:30 a.m. and it's done. And we played it for him and he was just like, cool. I guess we're doing it.
Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah.
I remember
So
when
yeah,
Caleb,
it was. What do you got?
I was gonna say, I just remember when you added that little like tapping part in the pre-chorus. I was just like, man, this is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah,
Yeah, it was at that point where we were just trying to make it as ridiculous as possible while like still making it, tolerable to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just have some fun with it.
And really just have fun with it. It was just a fun project kind of thing. Extra content, especially after like having a stressful again, but good time doing the record, and simply just doing something that's like no stress whatsoever. It doesn't really matter. We're not riding on anything with this, so just have fun with it and put it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then at this point, it's just like I'm okay with probably putting out a cover every once in a while, but again, it would be very like specific choices.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you have your eyes on like any songs you want to cover sometime in the future? I have to ask. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Caleb has
by
one.
Michael Jackson.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know you have that one song
Yeah.
you've wanted to cover for like ever.
Yeah. I'll start with, I'll name those two. Yeah, Scream by Michael Jackson has been
Ooh.
one I've wanted to for a long time because that song is hard. And, like, lyrical content-wise, I can kind of vibe with it because it's very just, like, feel the pressure of, people and eyes on you and everything like that, lyrically. And then also, with it being Michael Jackson, it features Janet Jackson on it as well, so it has two vocalists.
Mm-hmm.
So the two vocalist dynamic, of course, between us would work in that sense where one of us could be Janet, one of us could be Michael. And then also the song being called Scream, so we can scream on it.
Yeah.
Scream,
And then
Scream,
also, like,
Scream on cover.
Yeah, and then like Michael's vocal performance on that song is also very like aggressive. Yeah, so it's just like if you put those in the screams, it's not going to sound too off of what he was already doing.
Yeah.
Like it already pretty much has the scene formula for it.
Yeah.
It
So-
wouldn't sound too off the wall.
Ha ha.
Ha ha ha. That was so- okay. So
Yeah.
looking forward to that if you guys do choose to do that because that'd be sick.
I want to cover "Stupid Horse" by 100 Gex.
Oh yeah.
I thought about that
Okay.
today. I heard that today, and I was like, this would be really hard if we covered it.
Yeah, I'd listen to it. Like if you guys did a
like-
cover of 100 Gex, like I don't listen to them, but if you guys did do a cover, I would listen to
And then
it.
we talk about it on the podcast and be like, the cover was good, but we've never listened to the original.
Never listen to the original. Exactly. Be good.
Yeah.
Let's go pick
David, what do you want to cover? He's gonna say some like metal shit.
I don't know.
I remember one time you threw in the chat one day, you're just like, we should cover this, and it was like that song from Halo 3.
Oh yeah!
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was. I knew I had a serious one. I couldn't remember what it was. It's "Walk in the Woods."
Oh my god! You should
Yeah.
do it.
Oh man.
It's the one with the really
should do
funky
it.
ass bass line. It's fucking
Let's just
great.
we'll just do an EP where we each pick a song, and that'll be David's.
Oh my god!
I'm done.
So
And
many
I'll
EP ideas.
I'll pick
so-
100 Gex. Yeah, you're making our 2021 content right here. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Wait, I have to listen
And
to this.
then the fourth one, like that we've been juggling around, was the song "Something Bigger, Something Brighter" by Pretty Girls Make Graves.
Mhm.
So that one is one where I'm like, this is purely a passion project kind of thing. Because I'm like, I love that song, and like nobody knows that band,
Yeah.
and I just want to like bring that song back in our
Style.
vein.
Yeah.
So.
What did I say the other day I wanted to cover? I forgot. I always like think of songs that I either want to cover or like want to like do a vibe of or something like that, and I don't write it down. I forget, but it comes up like every other day. I don't
So,
remember.
how do you guys feel about the response you got to the cover?
Surprisingly
Oh, cool.
good.
Yeah. There was a lot of like, well, for me at least, I kept thinking like, man, people are gonna hate this. because
Oh.
it's like very. I mean, it's like a pop song and everything. I'm like, oh, they're doing a cover, sellouts, or something like that. So, but yeah, it was cool. I'm
Yeah.
happy with it.
I think a lot
was
of people.
nervous. Oh, go ahead.
Wait, what did you?
I was gonna say, I think a lot of
I-
people like that I knew like were receptive to it early, as opposed to like some other people that are like not necessarily that they're like, oh, I don't want to listen to your band or whatever, but it's just like when you do a cover of songs that some people know, then you know they want to listen to it, like just to see how it sounds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that was like kind of cool that a few people that I know that not necessarily didn't anticipate our stuff, but they were just like, oh, I want to hear it because it's something I already know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like we're
what-
actively, like, we appreciate, you know, our friends or anybody, whoever wants to listen to us, like, in our personal lives, but we don't expect them to listen to it, especially at this point, kind of. So it's just like when they willingly go listen to our stuff and, like, talk to us about it, then, you know, it feels good.
I was nervous
So
about
sorry, yeah.
it being the first thing that had just my screams on it, not Danny's. Because like I screamed on Louisiana Purchase and Plastic Armor, but like just little bits. So I was like, "Ha! This is going to be the time where people are like, oh, they changed the vocalist. I don't fucking like it. I'm out." But
Oh, I get that.
no one did that.
Yeah.
No one did that. So I was like, cool, okay. But yeah. So
It was very good. So you please do another cover sometime soon because that would be great. So that's it.
we'll probably do
Okay.
one at some point.
Okay, we're gonna start tomorrow.
So, I
I'm
heard,
gonna get to it right now.
I heard
Bro, that-
some people told me you guys may or may not have performed at Good Noise Fest 2020. And
yeah.
recorded a full set
Who might
at
have
each
told you
other's
that?
houses, you know, socially distanced and whatnot. What was that process like? And also, what was the experience like of just creating a set where you guys weren't together?
I don't know who wants to start with that one.
I will start.
Y'all can start.
It was
You-
weird.
you did it first.
Yeah, so me and Caleb started first, so guitar, drums, and vocals. And we didn't play to a click or anything, so that was one thing. And playing music without two of your bandmates is really odd. And I didn't really kind of realize that until doing it, like until mid-song half the time, where it's just like certain cues, and I'm like, oh, I know David's going to come in with me on this part, or you know, this vocal that Matt does, you know, I kind of need it to like keep pace or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm not listening to any clicks or I'm not listening to each other. So it was just like, oh, I'm just going to play and hope this sounds good. So that was kind of like, I don't know, not necessarily like stressful, but it was just odd. And, but like after hearing both of Matt and David's parts, like after Caleb got it all together, it made more sense then, and I was like, oh, this sounds great. So it really worked out in the end.
Yeah, because I remember, like, when we first did our parts, and then especially, like, when I was listening to, like, individual pieces, I'm just like, damn, this sucks. I'm like, I'm usually, like, super hard on myself, especially, so it's just, like, every little mistake I made, I'm just like, ugh! But, yeah, so it's just, like, of course, when you have less instruments, when it was just the two of us, you know, mistakes really show out or and whatnot. But of course, once everything got put together, then it was just like, oh yeah, this is actually solid. I'm okay with this. But yeah,
It
so
definitely took until having the whole thing for me as well.
Yeah. But yeah, like just process wise, it was just everybody used their phone camera for video. Everybody recorded themselves. You know, Matt and David recorded into their interfaces like DIs, and then I recorded the two of us, Kevin and I, with drums, my vocals, and guitars. And everybody just sent their files to me, and I put it all together, mixed it, and then sent it to Matt to master it. And then he gave that back to me, and then I just edited the video together. I tried to make it almost like Audio Tree type because I love that stuff. But yeah, so it was a short process, but also very long because
Short
we did it in like a
terms of,
week, but it felt like it took forever.
A lot of effort in that week.
Because for me, I'm always like a perfectionist with a lot of things, so I was just like, I'm gonna make this as great or as perfect as possible, and I didn't realize how long that was gonna take. So when I edited or I mixed it all in one night, and that took like 5 hours, and then the video editing I did in the next night, and I started around like 11 o'clock at night. I finished at 5 a.m.
Wow.
So but I'm really happy with it.
Yeah,
so
it came out
very
looking good.
It came out really, really nice.
Yeah, I'm very happy with how it ended up.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Yeah.
He literally sent us like the Dropbox file at like 5:30 in the morning. You sent us a message. You sent us a message. You're like, it's rendering. I'm gonna send it to him in the morning. I'm going to bed. And he was like, I'm probably gonna send it to him in the late afternoon because I'm gonna be asleep.
All nighters are nothing for me.
Hell yeah.
I get that.
All right. So I have to ask. Pulse's Live from Home EP, yes or no? With that set.
I said
We could
yes
put it out.
before.
Yeah.
We could.
Yeah, we can
Like,
do that.
I had always thought we were going to. I don't know if we'll put it on like streaming services, but we might put it on Bandcamp.
Okay.
And just
Ooh.
leave it there.
I think we should definitely put it on Bandcamp, and then we can think about whether we want to put it elsewhere or not. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like,
definitely.
I think it's
Yeah.
Oh
The
yeah.
only reason I hadn't immediately was just because of like, because again, I'm like really stickler with myself with certain things where I was just like, obviously, well, not obvious to everybody, but even for us individually, it was just like, it wasn't going to be our best performance ever. Because again, none of us have played these songs. Well, first, we didn't play them together, of course. And then we probably haven't played these songs in like 3 months since we haven't played a show since March. So it wasn't going to be our like top level performance that we could possibly do. And that's why I hesitated. But, you know, people seem to have dug it. So probably hold up.
I hadn't even screamed since, like, I had screamed once, like, successfully, like, because I tracked some stuff, but, like, since the last show, I hadn't been, like, in practice with that at all. So I was really nervous going into it, but I think it came out alright.
It came out pretty well.
Yeah.
And David's little run that he did at the end gave me a life.
Yeah. It was like, oh shit. Yep.
Quality content.
So
Were you like out of a drink? We never even really talked about it.
Yeah.
Were you
haven't
like
talked about this.
needing a drink, or did you just want one? Did you have one already and you ran out?
So I hadn't had anything to drink yet, and I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I can have a drink.
All right.
Yeah,
Solid.
I
I
just
just,
reenacted. Well, what?
Then I usually run off during that part. And do my own thing,
I just
and we
assumed
play
you were
at
just
5,
running.
so-
Yeah, I just assumed you were just running since you always do that. But then you came back with the drink, and I was like, oh, good.
So that is all the questions we have. Anything you want to plug?
What are we doing now?
Well, so in quarantine, I mean, we can just plug on normal socials. You can find us everywhere at Pulses VA on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Love having some fun. Come talk with us on one of those platforms.
We're working on some videos for songs from the album that will be out at some point.
Exciting.
Yeah.
We got
we
ideas for a few.
Very exciting.
I mean, we're gonna say that as well because I know Kevin, you like throwing in our like little tidbits for stuff at the end of interviews. So we have a mini album that's most of the way recorded already,
Ooh.
and so it's gonna be a stylistically different album as well for us because it's pretty much like it might as well be as if the four of us did a side project.
Exciting.
Almost.
Sounds
Heavier,
like they
bigger.
could. Yeah. There's a few that like could be on like the last album, but then there's a few that's just like this is like barely. It doesn't even sound like the same band, and it's not like next album we do will sound like our normal stuff, but we just did some different stuff.
Exciting.
And we wrote a lot of it. We wrote a lot of it at the same time as the other stuff, so it's around the same like kind of vibe, I guess, but darker, heavier.
Exciting.
So yeah, that'll be like hopefully if things go well, we want that out somewhere in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have another little thing we're trying to do past that. And just in the meantime, we're just trying to keep ourselves busy. So keep active with us on the socials and see whatever we happen to do.
Even if we're like speaking less about what's going on musically, we're still going to be around. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for sitting down with us, guys. It's always fun having you guys on.
Mhm.
This has been
Fun to be
Pulse-
back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This has been Pulses and We're the Good Noise podcast.